At 70 years old, mornings no longer rush toward you. They arrive slowly, carefully, as if time itself has learned to walk with respect. I woke up before sunrise, as I often did, listening to the quiet breathing of a house that had once been full of noise. The ticking clock on the wall felt louder than it should have, counting seconds that no longer felt urgent. It was Mother's Day. I knew that before I even opened my eyes. Mother's Day had changed over the years. When I was young, it meant handmade cards, messy hugs, and breakfast disasters in the kitchen. Later, it became phone calls, polite gifts, short visits squeezed between busy schedules. I had learned not to expect too much. Expectations, after all, can be heavy at this age. I wrapped my shawl around my shoulders and slowly made my way to the kitchen. My knees complained, my back protested, but I smiled anyway. This body had carried me through 70 years of love, loss, sacrifice, and survival. It had earned the right to be tired. I made myself a cup of tea and sat near the window, watching the sky slowly change color. I thought about my daughter, Sarah. She lived nearby, but her life was full: work, responsibilities, relationships. I understood that. I had once lived that life myself. Still, a mother never stops waiting. The doorbell rang. I looked up, surprised. It was early. No delivery was expected. For a moment, I wondered if I had imagined it. Then it rang again, gentle, patient. I stood up carefully and walked toward the door. When I opened it, there she was. "Happy Mother's Day, Mom." Sarah stood there with a small smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She looked nervous, almost like a child again. She held something behind her back. "You're early," I said. "I wanted to be," she replied softly. She stepped inside, glancing around the living room as if seeing it for the first time. Her eyes rested on the old photographs, her first day of school, birthdays, moments frozen in time. She turned toward me and held out a card. "I wanted to give you this first," she said. It was a simple card. No fancy wrapping. No flowers. Just a card. I took it with a polite smile. Cards were safe. Cards were easy. "I'll read it later," I said out of habit. "No," she said gently. "Please read it now." Something in her voice made me pause. I opened the card. The handwriting was hers. Not printed. Not perfect. Real. I began to read. "Mom, I've spent years meaning to say these words. I always thought there would be time later. But today, I want you to know what your love truly looked like to me." My chest tightened. When I was little, I believed all mothers were like you. I thought it was normal to stay awake all night when your child was sick. I thought it was normal to sacrifice comfort, dreams, and rest without ever asking for thanks. Tears filled my eyes. I remembered those nights. Sarah burning with fever, me sitting beside her bed, praying silently that the pain would leave her body and choose mine instead. I remembered whispering promises I wasn't sure I could keep. You never showed me how tired you were. You never told me how afraid you felt. You became strong so I could feel safe. I sat down, my hands shaking. Sarah knelt in front of me, taking my hand. She didn't speak. I kept reading. I remember the day Dad left. I didn't understand everything, but I understood this: you stayed. You became everything. The memory returned sharply. The empty doorway. The silence. The fear I swallowed so my daughter wouldn't taste it. I had worked 2 jobs. Skipped meals. Sewed clothes late at night. Smiled through exhaustion. I had never. As we sat together, memories flooded my mind. Sarah at 5, holding my hand tightly on her first day of school. Sarah at 10, crying over scraped knees and broken toys. Sarah at 16, angry at the world, slamming doors, not knowing how scared I was of losing her. I had made mistakes. I had raised my voice. I had chosen work over rest, discipline over softness. I wondered how many times she had felt alone while standing right beside me. "I never knew you felt all this," I whispered. She smiled sadly. "You never asked." I laughed softly through tears. Moters harelidu. We spent the day talking, really talking. About fears, regrets, dreams. About the woman she had become and the woman I once was. That evening, after she left, I sat alone again, but the house felt different. Lighter. Warmer. I placed the card carefully on the table. At 70 years old, I realized something I should have learned earlier. Motherhood is not about being remembered loudly. It's about being remembered honestly. And for the first time in a long while, I felt truly seen. The end.